Okay, I'm joined here by Luke Garrard before we face Watford here at the Mangata Development Stadium, Meadow Park. Luke, before we touch on tomorrow evening, any final takeaways from Luton Town?
Watched it this morning, done a good practice with the players, went through the good bits, the bad bits, the bits we need to improve on. Week one, very happy in terms of the coverage that we've done in training and again in the game. So yeah, very happy in terms of that, the work that the boys have been putting in. Hopefully put a little bit more into practice tomorrow evening. We know it's not going to be easy, but we've done some real good bits against Luton. Need to be a little bit more clinical in the final third, but overall, assessment's been good, and now it's obviously all preparation turns to tomorrow evening against Watford.
And yeah, after the game, you mentioned it being a good workout. Obviously, like any game you're in it to win it, but is getting work into the legs just as important?
For me, that is fundamentally all important for the first 2-3 weeks. Making sure you're getting people through their minutes, no injuries. So touch wood, currently that's a major factor in any manager throughout this 6-week period, is having everyone available come the first game of the season and making sure that they're hitting their optimum. Results for me become fundamental with the back end of the pre-season schedule, because you're starting to gear into that mindset and mentality. When you play the likes of Luton, Watford, when you're playing 2-11s, it's very disjointed. They're 10 of their players played in the Championship last year. They brought a striker on that was worth $1.5 million. So I'm not foolish enough to expect to go and beat a team of that calibre. We opened the game up, we made it big, we tried to play, and that's probably not been my stamp since my return in terms of the last 9 years previously. We need to improve on shutting the game down. We need to improve on understanding when to press, when not to press. But these are the perfect opportunities to do so in a 6-week period. And like I said, went through the good practice today, and the boys were very receptive to the information given.
And obviously, Championship opposition come to town tomorrow, being Watford. Are you expecting a tough battle?
Hugely, yeah. Exactly what we need and what we require. I want the boys to at least get to 6-7K in a 45-minute period. There's going to be a couple of lads that will play 90s tomorrow, just because we've lost a couple of bodies. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a very tough test. And again, are we learning from what happened on Saturday and trying to implement and put into practice what we need to do and what we want to achieve this year? We need to be better than what we presented on Saturday. But like I said, it's so early. We was in for 4 sessions as opposed to Luton's 18, I believe, because they've done a lot of doubles. So, yeah, I'm happy where we're at, happy with regards to the numbers the boys are presenting, and we need to make sure that they do the same again tomorrow evening.
Yeah, and how are the lads feeling in terms of their fitness so far this pre-season?
They do a form before they start every session, so we analyse that. We've got a new equipment that the chairman kindly got the S&C medical department, the Vold mats, which identify if there's any soreness or any weakness anywhere. And at the minute, everything's looking good in terms of the boys at the scores that they're giving us and the results on the machine. So we had a tough one today, I'll be honest with you. I just done an 8K day again. They're working. I want them to work. I wanted to stretch them, put them through some hardship, some suffering, because when it comes to the games, they've got to have their concentration in keeping the ball and working hard, and that's what I expect, especially in the first 2-3 weeks. This is my 11th pre-season as a manager. And I feel that we've improved as staff and a club to give the players the best opportunity of being at their optimum come August the 9th. We are gearing up for that first game. We're not gearing up to beat Luton or Watford. We are gearing up to August the 9th, and we've got 8 remaining pre-season friendlies to make sure that come the last 7 to 10 days of the pre-season, we're at our pump and ready and chomping at the bit.
Yeah, you mentioned gearing up for the 9th of August. How important is the backing of the Wood Army this pre-season as we build up to our National League return?
Yeah, listen, they were fundamental in our success last year. I speak about it. Torquay away, they were incredible. At home against Maidstone and Dorking, they were incredible, and they know what I feel about them. I was at the Summer Fete yesterday at Shenley and speaking to a load of fans, and there's excitement around the whole place, and I want that to continue. There needs to have that wave and just make sure we're riding that, as opposed to not building on what the success we had last year. And for me, they've been colossal ever since I've been a manager of this football club. They've been colossal since I've returned. And like I said, they played a massive part in our success last year, and they're going to play a massive part in our journey this year. And if they bring the noise, they're like double the amount of fans anywhere else, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that they come to a few more games in pre-season and they start gearing themselves up for their return come the 9th of August.
Cheers, Luke.